What's good, peeps? All right, let's do this Q&A. It has been a long time coming. I'm trying to get the questions up. First, let's have a swig of this single barrel Jack Daniels. Oh, that's good. That is good. No ice, no Coke, definitely no bloody Coke. Just single barrel straight. Or neat. Is that what they say? Neat. It's good stuff. It is good stuff. In fact, before we start, massive shout out to Casper. I saw Casper, who is a fan of the channel, on London Bridge today. He didn't 100% know it was me, and then obviously he came up closer, realized it was me, and then obviously introduced himself, said he was a fan of the channel. Thank you so much, Casper, sorry for being a fan of the channel. He didn't actually recognize me because I had a hat on, so he wasn't too sure. But he's such a fan of the channel, he showed me, he literally opened up his YouTube on his phone, and he was watching all my videos. Literally watching all my videos. So I said that I would shout him out on this video right now. So Casper, there you go. Thank you so much for being a fan of the channel. It's still, I find it weird when people come up to you. Like, I don't know, I just find it weird when people still come up to me and say they're a fan of the channel. I just find it weird. I forget sometimes how many people watch this. So thank you so much, much appreciated. He said he recognized the hat because of my Instagram, because I wear that hat quite a lot on my Instagram. So yeah, follow me. Guys, follow me on Instagram, ade.oladipo, if you want to know what I do on a day-to-day basis, because I do post a lot on my Insta stories. I post a lot of my stuff in TalkSport. I'm going to Sky tomorrow, so I kind of post what goes on behind in Sky. I'm doing something for the BBC very soon, so I'm going to post a lot of what goes on at the BBC as well. So yeah, follow me, ade.oladipo on Instagram. I'll put it underneath now. All right, let's get this done. Let's go to the emails first. I think quite a few came in by email. It's so much better having the phone and doing it like this. This one's from Nick Vincent. It says, hey Ade, I just wanted to say congratulations on all your success with TalkSport and Sky Sports. My question is, if Dillian White loses, who could he face after Povetkin? I was thinking Andy Ruiz if he wants to stay at world champ level. Thanks, Nick. No, I don't think Andy Ruiz would take on a fighter who's lost twice in a row. I mean, that's how damaging it could be. That's two losses back to back, especially if he loses this in the same fashion, which I don't think he will. He might have to fight almost like what he did with Maris Vac, someone who's known, right, but kind of floating in and around the top 30, 40. Right, I know there's no real recognized rankings, but we know who the top 30 and 40 are. So someone like that, and then he might have a couple of fights like that and then come back. I would like to see him in against Andy Ruiz, but I think it's going to take a couple of. In fact, I don't even expect that fight to ever happen. I'd love to see him in against Michael Hunter. That would be a great fight, or the winner of Dubois Joyce. But I just don't see those fights happening for now. But let's hope he doesn't lose, boy, because unfortunately, it shouldn't be the case, but unfortunately, I don't know. Unfortunately, I think it will be. Next question is for Nuril Ahmed, who says, hi, Ade. I already posted this question on the comments, so if you do answer this, please feel free to ignore the one in the comment section. I just want to know what your thoughts were on the upcoming coronavirus vaccine. Do you feel it has been rushed, as it normally takes 4 to 5 years to develop one? Also, I'd like to send you a book, so let me know what address I can post it to. By the way, congrats on your TalkSport gig. Thank you very much with regards to the TalkSport gig. I just don't know. I don't know with regards to the coronavirus vaccine. I don't think no one does, if I'm honest with you. I mean, look, there are smarter people than me and you, Naril. Not saying you're not smart, I'm sure you are, but there are smarter people than ourselves dealing with this behind closed doors. But it's crazy, right? We're going to go into what looks like another lockdown, which is crazy. I found myself struggling towards the end of the most recent one. I kind of felt like I got into a role a little bit. You know, I was going gym, making videos, you know, going for walks. But towards the end, I was hanging on. So the idea of going into another lockdown doesn't suit me. With regards to an upcoming vaccine, I, for one, won't be taking a vaccine. I just don't trust those things. I know Might sound controversial, but I just don't. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know with regards to the vaccine. I wish I did know the answers to that. I don't. Apologies, dude. With regards to sending me a book, I'll reply you with my address. Ryan S says, hi, Ed, I have 2 questions. Biggest waste of talents in boxing ever. That's so difficult when we go to ever. I'm not an historian, right? I'm not a Spencer Fearon. I'm not a Max Kellerman. I don't know too much. In terms of most recent times, I think Billy Joe Saunders is really etching into that, by the way. I mean, I was going to do a video on this and I still might. Billy Joe Saunders has had 3 trainers in the last 12 months and hasn't fought. Okay. He's getting up there. We all talk about Adrian Broner. The fact is, about it, as much as I say waste of talent, Adrian Broner's still been in some fights. Manny Pacquiao was a named fighter. Sean Porter, named fighter. Mikey Garcia, named fighter. Marcus Maidana. Do you know what I mean? We can at least name 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8 fights that Broner's at least been in, which have been somewhat big fights. Again, with Billy Joe Saunders, the one everyone keeps referring to is David Lemieux, David Lemieux, David Lemieux. And David Lemieux isn't a Marcus Maidana, isn't a Mikey Garcia, isn't a Manny Pacquiao. So that's why I say Billy Joe Saunders, just because we all know he's talented, but what? You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know if it's him. I don't know if it's Eddie. I don't know if it's Frank, but it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And your top 5 best trash talks in combat sport. For me personally, Ricardo Mayorga would be number 1. The funny thing is, I was speaking to someone the other day because I'm doing a bit of cricket for Talk Sport, and that cricket person was telling me there's a lot of trash talking in cricket. Which is a bit random, right? But a lot of trash talk in cricket. Plus, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball as well. We think of combat sports. Sorry, you said combat sports, didn't you? But it's combat sports. I mean, there's a lot more in other sports as well. I think Conor McGregor was fantastic. I really do. I think maybe because of his situation now, we don't look at him as a good trash talker. He was fantastic. In fact, I would say he's number 1. I could argue and say he was. Some of his one-liners, like the one when Jason, is it Jason Stevens? Is that his name? I can't remember his name. And he says, he's looking around and he says, who the fuck is that guy? It's just perfect timing. I think he could be the best. So I can't give you a top 5, but in terms of number 1, I think he's the best. And you said at the end, thanks for keeping the Q&A going. Love the channel. Thank you very much, bro. What's this one? Is it a question? Okay, I don't know if this is a question. Robert Ratibi says, hey, Addy, how you doing? Let me start by saying this is not a question, just an appreciation of how far you have come. I can take that. I'm a long, and that's what he says, L-O-O-O, all the O's, NG, time subscriber from back in the day with you and Ryan on Box Talk. Funny fact, my uncle Carl stood in for you for one episode on Box Talk with Ryan whilst you were away. I remember that because I was in Cancun. I was in Mexico. Anyway, I don't normally comment. I'm one of the subscribers that just likes and shares. I just wanted to say congrats on everything you've accomplished. The journey you've been on and the hard work you have put in is inspiring. I pray for nothing but continued success and prosperity for you, bro. Keep up the good work, Rob. Rob, fucking thank you, brother. Honestly, thank you so much. All right, next one is from Adam Watkins. Adam, love you, dude. Me and Adam have done a Zoom call with each other. He's a patron as well. Adam, thank you so much. He says, hi, Addy. Just wanted to say a quick congrats on the new job and fair play for following your dreams. I've been following the channel for a good couple of years now, and it's been a pleasure to follow you in your journey from YouTube to Patreon and now onto TalkSport and Sky. Thanks for having me on the first Addy and Friends. Thanks for the Zoom call during lockdown. Thanks for keeping me entertained over the years. I'd like to send you a little something you don't mind dropping me your address. Fuck it. This is what I was saying when I say I've got the best subscribers. Just that. Those last 2 emails. Amazing. Adam, thank you, bro. I will definitely send you my address because I don't know what's coming. Thank you. Jeez, I love it. All right, question here from Andrew Tokley. Says, hi, Ade. Got a couple of questions for the Q&A. I might be able to give you one, Andrew. How big do you see MTK getting as a promotional company, not management? Some of the cards they've been putting on recently have been good and very competitive, 50-50 fights. Personally, I see them possibly getting to Queensberry's level if they get a TV deal in the near future. I actually don't think they need a TV deal. I think they could come along as like a subscription channel, almost like DAZN. They could come and do that. I just don't know if people will buy into a subscription channel just for boxing, kind of like people did with Box Nation back in the day. But I think they could do that. I think they're growing at a rapid rate. Rapid. Like, it's incredible. I can't imagine where they're going to be in 2 years. Like right now, obviously, like what you said, they've got a lot of top fighters signed to management contracts. In the end, imagine they're so big where their top fighters just signed to them as promotional and like, fight for them, like fight for MTK, and not like Tyson Fury fights for Top Rank, but Tyson Fury fights for MTK. Imagine that. Could be crazy. Dude, I can't answer your second question just because so many questions, as you can imagine. But thank you for it. Honestly, apologies. Hi, Ade. You did speak about another weight division between light heavyweight and cruiserweight for a couple of times now since the jump is so big. I am of the same opinion. So my question is the following. If there was another junior cruiserweight division introduced somewhere around 185 to 190, who out of light heavyweight and cruiserweight would or should compete at that new division, and who would be the man? Oh, best greetings from Bavaria. Oh my God, that's bloody hell. Where is that? But anyway, love your channel, he says at the end. A junior cruiserweight division. I don't know, like, I'm going to sound a bit basic here and just talk about the British level fighters. And the one I've always been talking about was Usyk Chamberlain, right? He's the guy that just looks far too small. He looks far too small for cruiserweight. Because again, there are some massive cruiserweight. I mean, you look at the ones that have fought in the last World Boxing Super Series. They've all gone to heavyweight now. You think about that. Gassiev, heavyweight. Not made his heavyweight debut, but should. Usyk, heavyweight. Do you know? Dorticus and this next one against Bradis. Those are big guys as well. And I think someone like an Usyk Chamberlain, too small for those guys. Far too small. So I feel like he could be a guy that benefits from that division. You think of people in the past and think about people like Nathan Cleverly, who openly said he struggled making light heavy. When he went to cruiserweight to fight Tony Bellew, he was just too small. He almost tried to bulk up a bit and it's too much muscle, couldn't handle it. So people like that could have benefited in the past as well. I think, I've got another one in the Q&A. This is from ACM. It says, hey, Ade, hope all is well. Just got a few questions. We'll see how many we can get rid of. Who from this generation do you see going down as an all-time great? I think Loma, when he becomes undisputed, beating Teofimo, will be an all-time great. Obviously, Floyd, Manny Pacquiao, standard. But Loma will be an all-time great, I think, especially if Loma goes to 140. Like, I'm more intrigued as to what Loma does after beating Teofimo. I'm confident Loma will beat Teofimo, by the way. I'm more intrigued about what he does after. Does he go to 140 and chase a Josh Taylor or Ramirez? Remember, both of those guys are signed to Top Rank, so those fights aren't difficult to make. And both Ramirez and Josh Taylor will take those fights in a heartbeat as well. Does he do that? Other fighters that might go down, I mean, if Usyk somehow gets a world title shot and beats an Anthony Joshua or Tyson Fury, then considering what he done as an Olympian, considering what he done at cruiserweight, he could be in there as well. Then you've got fighters like Estrada and Chocolatito. There's a few fighters that can make it, but you've got to do a lot now. I think it's so easy now to become, and no disrespect to fighters, but it's easier, I think, to become 3-4-weight world champions than it was back in the day, just because there are so many belts floating around. So you've got to do a bit more. You've got to be a bit special. And I think the guys I've just mentioned are just a bit special. Sorry, dude. I know you've got other questions there, but again, so many questions have come in. I think there was a question in my junk mail that I saw. Okay, yeah, so before we get onto the YouTube ones, we are very close to YouTube ones now. John James says, hi, Ade. We are so happy to see your progress. Keep up the hard work. Thank you, brother. A question. You say you had to be punished for your delayed Q&A session. Do you either take the uppercut Klitschko took against AJ or the uppercut White took against Povetkin? Which one are you going to pick? It's funny, but I'm going to pick the one that didn't knock out the person with one punch. And that's I'm going to pick... So I'm going to pick the one that did knock out the person. So that's what I meant. And that I'm taking the Povetkin one. AJ's one almost looked like it took, it just looked like it damaged Klitschko's neck. I'd rather just take Povetkin's one, be concussed for a few seconds and get back up again. I'm not taking that AJ's. AJ's uppercut looked like he put everything into that punch. Whereas Povetkin's one was just like, it was almost like a tap. But obviously it was a tap that, bloody hell, was something dangerous. What's this one? It's from Richard Joyce. Hi, Ade. Hope you're well. 2 questions, if I can be so cheeky. Question number 1. Do you think Luke Campbell will go on and eventually win a world title? Or is he going to be unlucky that in and around his division, there is some unbelievable talent? I really hope he does, as I love his fighting style and character. I think he will win a world title. And the reason I say that is because I do think Loma might vacate after beating Teofimo. And I also think even if Teofimo loses, I think Teofimo regardless is going to 140. And I think Loma, I don't know what Loma does. But Loma's going to vacate. I can't see Loma defending the undisputed. And I think them belts will be scattered. And it could be Luke Campbell versus someone that he can beat if he gets past Ryan Garcia for a world title. So I do think he will. Second question, just because you said cheeky, is if you could pick 5 sports people or athletes, past or present, that have not already got a sports documentary film made about them, who would be your 5? I think Tiger Woods has kind of got something, but not a proper documentary. So I'll say Tiger Woods for his story. I think Tiger Woods has got an incredible story, especially if you add in all the cheating he done, didn't he? I mean, come on, he got all that in. Serena Williams, I think, is an interesting story. LeBron James, I think, is very interesting just because of that comparison with Michael Jordan. It's like we know everything about Michael Jordan, especially because of the documentary recently, but LeBron kind of keeps a bit low key, so we don't know anything too much about him. I would love a documentary made about Chris Eubank Jr. I want to know how he turned into this that he is. Like, where's it come from? I'd love to know that. And who else? I don't know. I'm trying to think of people that are interested. Adrian Broner will be fun, just because Adrian Broner, innit? All right, I think that is it from the emails. Let's go over to YouTube now, where I believe there is quite a lot of questions. Wait, how do I get to the ones that came in first? I don't even know how to do it this. Wait, 1 second. I think I do. Let's do this. So if I go to newest first, and then scroll all the way down, just so we can be fair to the ones that came in first, just in case I can't answer all of them, which I doubt I can. But thank you so much for everyone that got your questions in. I think that's it. All right, so Hardcore Boxing says, could Vladimir Klitschko at 44 beat today's Deontay Wilder? Nah, I don't think so, man. I know we like to do these things. I was a person that was even saying, Vitaly Klitschko could come back. Vladimir Klitschko has been retired now for, I don't even know when the AJ fight was. When was that? 3-4 years ago? I can't remember when it was. I just don't think you can come back and beat Deontay Wilder. Not being out of the ring that long. Nah, not having that. I mean, I'm not the biggest Deontay Wilder fan, but I just don't think you can do that. I'd be shocked if he can, but who knows, right? Who knows? I guess that's how much you don't rate Deontay Wilder. Rampage Ryan says, what do you think of Kobe Covington's performance? Fantastic. Kobe Covington, I think because of his antics and this person that he's created, I think detracts away from how good a fighter Kobe Covington is. Like, I'm a massive Kamaru Usman fan just because he's Nigerian, if I'm honest with you. And that was a tough fight for Usman. Tough fight. Kobe Covington's legit. And Kobe Covington could be the second best 170 pounder in the world. I think Covington beats Masvidal. I think he beats Burns. Leon Edwards is a tough fight. And then you got the other guys floating around like McGregor at 170, possibly. I'll tell you now, Khamzat Chimaev is a dangerous guy for all of them. But Kobe Covington is legit. Connor Melvin says, Ortiz versus Hunter, who wins? And if there's one fight in the heavyweight and cruiserweight division you'd like to see, what would it be? My one fight would be Hunter versus Parker. And I think Hunter beats Ortiz now. I was massively, I was high on Ortiz, but that was 3 years ago. Granted, Ortiz ain't that guy anymore. I was high on him 3-4 years ago. Ortiz will give you good rounds, but after 5 or 6 rounds, he's not going to be there anymore. And I think Hunter would be. It's a shame what's going on with Michael Hunter. I'm just watching him on social media, and he seems to be calling everyone out. Like, there's even this new heavyweight from China that Matchroom signed, and Hunter was like, I'll fight him anywhere. Because everyone wants to get paid. He's not getting paid. He's not fighting. His last fight was in December. So we're talking a couple of months' time. It'll be a year now. And it's not like he got paid millions for that Povetkin fight either. Wants to get paid. Obviously, Matchroom didn't re-up with him, so shame. Finbar White says, hey, Ade, glad you're doing well with TalkSport. Which fighter has most disappointed you in the past few years? Keep smiling and being positive. Thanks, Finbar. Sorry, I'm just a bit tired. Which fighter has disappointed me most? Got about 3 or 4. British standpoint, none more so than Billy Joe Saunders and Kell Brook. None. I don't think I need to get into them. You guys know me by now, but yeah. Eeyore the Meme says, do you think Nathan Gorman could be a world champion? Next. Absolutely not. What? Are you trolling me? Seb Owen says, do you prefer commentating on a live event or talking about sport like you do at Sky and TalkSport? I prefer talking about it. You know what it is? I think you've got to know what you're good at. I was okay at commentating, just okay. I'm not a Chris Lloyd. I'm not a Paulie Malignaggi. I'm not that good, but I can do this. I can sit down and talk, and I think TalkSport allows me to be as close to this as possible, way more than Sky does. Sky is okay. In fact, Sky is very good, right? But I do prefer talk. Young Revival says, predictions for all the boxing on 26th of September. The Charlo's doubleheader, Bradis versus Dorticus, and Josh Taylor's fight. Josh Taylor wins his fight. I think we all know that. Bradis versus Dorticus. Good luck predicting that. Good luck predicting that. As for the Charlo's fight, I think I always get it wrong. The 154, I think that's Jamal, right? Is that Jamal? I think he beats Rosario. I think Derevyanchenko beats the 160 guy, which I think is Jamal. I really do. The fight guy says, why Chimaev has more followers in 2 months than Spence and Crawford. Wow. Chimaev has 40,000 IG followers in July. He now has 620. Promotion. There you go. And people might say it doesn't mean anything. That does mean something. It does. Your followers means something. It really does. In saying that, Spence is going to get paid way more money than Chimaev. Fact, right? Fact. Spence is probably going to get paid 6-7 million maybe for his fight against Danny Garcia. I'll tell you now, Chimaev, I'd be shocked if he's getting paid over £100,000 right now. I'd be shocked. Someone might say, Ade, that's not true. He's getting paid way more than that. Don't know. All right, I'm just going to pour myself another drink quickly because it has been a long day, people. And your boy is getting a bit tired. And I've got to get up at 4:30 a.m. tomorrow to get to Sky for 7. Not complaining. Not complaining. There was a time when I had no job. So I'm not complaining having to go and talk about sport. Did you guys see, I don't know if you guys saw this, Brian Swanson. I don't know if you guys even know that his. Brian Swanson is, he is a presenter for Sky Sports, and he put on his Twitter page showing what goes on behind the scenes. So what we as presenters hear that obviously you guys at home don't hear. So when you got the director in one ear talking to you, got the producer in one ear talking to you, and it's all going off at the back, and they're talking to you, and you still got to then try and be calm and talk down the camera. Ain't easy, boy. Ain't easy. All right. Leo Williams says, imagine that for whatever reason the Usyk Chisora fight is delayed until March, April. If Joshua gets past Pulev and drops his WBO belt so he can fight Fury straight away, does that mean that we could possibly see Usyk fight Chisora for the vacant WBO belt? Sorry for the long question. It was just a thought. I don't know if that's how it works, if I'm honest with you. I think Usyk will have to fight the next person in the rankings, and that next person I think is Joseph Parker. So I don't think Chisora can fight for a world title like that. That's what I think. I stand to be corrected, but I don't think he can. Romano Barra says, Ade, who do you have to win? Winner of Taylor Ramirez versus Crawford Broner? Broner, why you got Broner in there? But Taylor Ramirez ain't beating Crawford. So, yeah, that's not happening. Will Butler says Prime Tony versus Prime Hopkins. Who wins? Ooh. You've gone on to say, I'd just give the edge to Tony because at 160, 168, I thought he was sensational. Agreed. I thought he was sensational, but I just thought technically, in terms of having the basics down to a T, Hopkins was fantastic and hard as nails, just hard as nails. And we all saw what he went and done later on in his career, but I would edge to Tony as well, just. Mike Bike says, how often do you smoke weed? I don't smoke weed at all. I don't. Thoughts on people that smoke weed? No thoughts on it really, but yeah, I don't smoke weed. I don't smoke. Niall McKeown says, who would win super middleweight, Adonis Stevenson versus Prime George Groves? Oh, Adonis Stevenson, I think would ice him. I think so. But I don't know. Yeah, Adonis Stevenson. Even though, obviously, Adonis Stevenson's best work was at light heavy, I just feel like if he can get down to 168 healthily, that Adonis Stevenson had power that just weren't normal. Although George Groves, better boxer, fantastic jab. But I think I'd go with Adonis Stevenson. This mofo says, what's more interesting, a press conference between DeBar and Joe Joyce or watching paint dry? It depends what paint you're talking about. When I was painting in this room, I used to sit back and watch it dry. It's close, but I'd go Dubois Joyce, just. Russman said, hey, would you go on True Geordie and do a kickoff? I would. And I just found out that the True Geordie podcast is actually based in London. Is that not a surprise? Surprised me. I thought it was in Newcastle. Ash says, do you really think Yard can turn into a world champion under Tunde? Well, he nearly did. It was that close. His corner work against Kovalev was atrocious. And Yard still makes simple errors that will get exposed against the elite. Imagine Yard under the tutelage of someone like Shane McGuigan. I don't think... Okay, he says he would improve tenfold. Disagree. Interested in your thoughts. As you said, AJ should contemplate leaving McCracken after Ruiz won, even though his instructions were sound. Okay, there you go. For example, his instructions were sound, but AJ looked awful. All right, fair. I think we can get carried away with people who say amazing things in the corner. Like you speak to some fighters and they're not even listening. Like sometimes you can give too many instructions. Like some fighters, like they just want very basic instructions in that corner. Some give so much, and the commentators make it sound like, oh, it's amazing what he just said. And I'm thinking, yeah, but is he really listening to that after nearly being concussed in that round? Maybe Tunde did get it a bit wrong in that fight, but Tunde even admitted that was his first time getting there as well. A lot of the trainers, that give amazing instructions, like you said, Rob McCracken, he's been there with Carl Froch so many times. World title fights, big world title fights. Andre Ward, big one. Lucien Boutte, big one. The Kessler fights, he's been there and done it. Former boxer himself at a good level. I think Tunde needs to get time. Tunde wasn't there as a boxer, and this is his first time getting there as a trainer. First time. I think prior to that, I think the highest he got was, a British Championship fight when I think he might have cornered Spencer Fearon. Could be wrong, but I think that was the case. It's a long time ago. So he needs time. He'll get there. Amichai Lera. Thoughts on Jews? Do you have any Jewish friends? Would you want to visit Israel in the future? I don't have practicing Jewish friends, right? If that makes any sense. I've got friends that are Jews. Yeah, I do have. No issue, right? I take people from what I know about them rather than, any history about their country or anything like that. How are they with me? And the friends I have that are Jewish are fine with me. Absolutely fine. Some of them I've grown up with in school. Some of them I know from football, so they're fine. As for wanting to visit Israel in the future, I've been to Israel already. Lovely place. Enjoyed myself. Yeah. Are you right wing or left wing? I'm I'm more center, if I'm honest with you. I'm more center left. Obviously, I'm not fucking right wing. I'm hardly going to be right wing, but I'm more center, but more center left. Right? Sometimes I understand some of the shit the Conservatives spout out, but at the same time, I also have grown up as a left wing. You kind of follow what your parents said. My mum was definitely left. Yeah. Original Individual says, who is the poshest? Rob Tebbit, Danny Flexen, a guy called Henry, or Boxing Gossip? Oh, a guy called Henry all day. All day. He is like extremely, extremely posh. Rob Tebbett's a bit hood, you know. Rob Tebbett's a bit hood, mate. Like, Rob Tebbett is hood, in fact. I would say a bit hood. Rob Tebbett's hood. Jamel Mohammed says, from their debuts up until their final fights, who had the better career, Roy Jones Jr. or Bernard Hopkins? This is such a good question. Such a good question. Because one peaked and then nosedived, right? One peaked, stayed there, and then just fell off. So Roy Jones was like, vroom, and then vroom. Whereas Bernard Hopkins was like, vroom, stayed, vroom. I would go for, I don't know, I can't even answer it. It's such a good question. I do not know. Best question of the day, Jamal Mohammed. Well done. Jermaine C says, hi, Eddie. Hoping to get one of my questions answered for the first time. That's not true. Don't lie, Jermaine. I've answered you before. With the current active boxers of any weight class in mind, who has the best ring IQ? Oh, I was about to say, obviously, Lomachenko, but I tell you now, Chocolatito's ring IQ is unreal. Like, there's a guy called, I think it's Lee Wiley, who kind of slows down what Chocolatito does. And it's almost, you know, people talk about people playing chess when they're boxing. He's playing chess. He's thinking 2 moves in front of you. And it's just, he's unbelievable. So I'd say it's between Loma and Chocolatito. Who genuinely wants all the smoke? Good question. Good question. Because a lot of people, nah. I think Crawford would take all the smoke. Chisora would take all the smoke. Michael Hunter would fight anybody, any man alive. Michael Hunter. And I don't think Loma's afraid of anyone. I don't think when you're that good, you're afraid of people. Who genuinely deserves a world title shot the most? A lot of the top boxers have had world title shots when you think about it, right? A lot of them. Does Dillian White deserve it the most? That's enough drinking. Fucking hell. Let's just say Dillian White. I can't think of anyone right now, but let's just say Dillian White. Just because I think Chisora, Parker, Oscar Rivas. Actually, I mean, come on, Hellenius, Povetkin, obviously he lost, but you know, I mean, come on. I mean, lesser fighters have done so much. David Chester, good to see you're doing well, dude. How do you combine dating and the hustle? I'm trying to get my business established and dating is hard work at the best of times. Do you still bother? What a good question, because I'm struggling. Like, I meet a lot of good girls, like, woo, 10 out of 10s, cuz. I'm not even joking. And I just don't have time. I don't have time. Like, especially right now. Like right now, obviously, I've got a show Monday to Friday. And in fact, I'm now doing something on a Saturday. I've got a BBC pilot coming out, and if all goes well, then they're open. They want to do 30 shows of that pilot. That show that I'm doing on a Saturday is going for like, I've got a pilot for 4 shows, but then they're hoping to extend it for the whole of the football season. Where's my dating? Where's my dating? But, I can't tell you actually, but yeah, I don't know where it's going to be. Got something to tell you, but I ain't got something to tell you, if you know what I mean. All right, Milfy Swinbuckle says, tongue-in-cheek question for you, Ade. Now that your YouTube and TV fame, infamy is growing, would you consider a YouTube fight? And if so, what kind of money would it take for you to get your butt out of the green chair and into a boxing gym for 6 months prior to the fight? As an additional question, which YouTuber would you like to batter in the boxing ring? Oh, good question. I would definitely do a YouTube fight just because I would like, you know what it is? I think like I'd like to test myself and see how fit I am. I can't sit on this chair and diss boxers all the time and not risk it. Go in there and have a fight, right? Fucking head guard on though. As for a YouTuber, don't know any that I'd like to fight. Can't think of any. I'd like to fight someone rich. So not a boxing YouTuber because we're all broke. I'm thinking of like a rich one, like a KSI type, right? Who's got money. So I get paid for that shit. And I'm thinking that me and KSI probably weigh around the same. We look about the same size. Get some money for that boy. 6 months in the gym. Who would I like to train me? I'd like to be trained by someone like a Bernard Hopkins because that guy didn't fuck about. No drinking, no smoking, ate the best food. I mean, he was in shape until he was 50. 50 blood. Come on now. Big Dick Jim. Hey, Ade, which fighters in boxing do you think could dominate the UFC and vice versa? Also, I respect the hustle. Keep up the good work. I think of someone like Francis Ngannou, yeah, who is just a striker. Just a striker. Would he dominate boxing? Absolutely not. But I think if he lands on some heavyweights clean, they're getting knocked out. They're getting knocked out. As for a boxer that could dominate the UFC, there isn't one. They'll just get taken down and submitted. Just like that. Wazza A says, what's up, Ade? Congratulations on all your achievements. My question is, which present boxer and retired boxer has the best boxing nickname? And if you were a boxer, what would be your nickname? Ade, the Nigerian nice man, Oladipo. Am I that nice? Am I that nice? I don't even know if I'm that nice. There's so many, but I've got to say, I love Dr. Stillhammer and Dr. Iron Fist. Fucking great, because both of those guys could punch as well. So I do like those. IA says, does White need a management team? Turn down AJ fight and Pulev for the IBF eliminator that always call them mandatory, and fighting Povetkin 91 days after a brutal KO as well. Love the channel, 10 out of 10. I think so. I know his manager, who's a very smart guy. Like, there is no dummy, trust me. And you know what it is with these boxers as well? Understand this, it's about that. I think people forget that sometimes. So as much as I'm like, oh, White shouldn't fight, blah, blah, blah. The fact is, White is going to get paid 7 figures for fighting. White got paid 7 figures in August. You know, we're hearing that the White Povetkin fight done something like 330,000 pay-per-view buys. White got paid. And White's about to get paid. I earlier spoke about Michael Hunter, who's not getting paid. So these fighters are all about getting paid. They don't mind. They're fighters. They're not like me and you. They're fighters and they will fight. So his management team is there to make sure White gets as much money as possible. They're not necessarily there to look after his health. I mean, I care about things like that, right? Because I don't want to see White slurring his words in 10 years. I want to see him healthy so he can enjoy that money that he's making. Hence why I always say, get in, get rich, get out. Enjoy your money. There's no point when you can't talk and you're slurring your words and you're done, right? I don't want that. That's why I love the fact that Conor McGregor's living the way he's living. I know some people accuse him of doing things he shouldn't do, right? A bit of the, but he's enjoying his fucking life, isn't he? And he's healthy. He's healthy and he's enjoying that money. And that's the way I want fighters to be when it comes to the end of their career. But as for his management, his management are getting in the fights and making him money and they're on pay-per-view. And that's all they're supposed to do and they're ticking that box. Alamide Doherty says, do you remember how you were feeling after your first breakup? Yes, I do. I got dumped by a girl at 17 and I was devastated. And I remember her dumping me and her going to a guy that at the time was driving and I was gutted. And that motherfucker motivated me to hustle. Can't lie to you, I wasn't doing the things I should do. And hustle and get my own car. And I got an Audi A3 black. I remember it now, P-Reg at the time. And then I crashed that and got a W plate. W768 Maya, I think the number plate was. See, I remember that because it meant so much to me. All right, last 10 minutes because I'm bloody tired. This is from Jaroslaw Kiselensky, I think it is. Apologies if I've butchered your name. Ade, why is there no heavyweight boxer like Fury or Joshua in the ring top 10? but there is a place for Usyk, who he was undisputed in cruiserweight, has shown nothing yet in heavyweight. Peace. Said the same thing. I was saying this the other day, like, do heavyweights not get in pound for pound? Like, I'm confused because, again, Usyk is a heavyweight now, or is he in the pound for pound top 10 just because of what he done as a cruiserweight? I'm so confused. It must be because of what he done as a cruiserweight, because he's only had one fight as a heavyweight, and he didn't even look great in that fight either, by the way, against Witherspoon. So I don't know, man. I don't know. But would you have Fury or Joshua in there? And when you look at that top 10, I mean, number 10 is Manny Pacquiao. Number 9, I think, was Bertabiev. 8 was Estrada. 7, Golovkin. 6, Spence. 5, Usyk. 4, Crawford. 3, Inoue. 2, Loma. 1, Canelo. What a good memory. Are they above any of those fighters? Don't know. Julian Salmon says, have you heard that Lloyd Hunnigan hasn't been well? I have heard that. Let's hope that he is improving. Man. Again, you know what it is? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not going to get into it. Also, your thoughts on top 6 Premier teams this season. I've said I think the Premier League race is going to be crazy this season. Everyone's talking top 4. I mean, top 10 is going to be crazy. All of a sudden, Everton have gone from maybe make top 10 to we'll make top 6. All of a sudden. Wolves, I think, will make top 6 just because I think Nuno Santo is such a good manager. Tottenham have gone from 2 weeks ago when they got beat by Everton, everyone's like, oh, they're done. Reguilon comes, Gareth Bale comes, and all of a sudden people are saying that they've got the best strike force in the Premier League, which they haven't. Obviously, Liverpool have, obviously. So I don't know, man. Top 6 is going to be crazy, but let's just go for it. I mean, Liverpool, City, this is in no order, by the way, just in case people are going to start having a go. Liverpool, City, Chelsea, I think they will improve under Frank. I think I'll get them playing good football. United, Arsenal, I think Arteta's such a good manager. And then look, I mean, you got Spurs, Wolves, Everton, Leicester, all vying for that place. Jeez. Sam Beatty says, hey Ade, Hay versus Usyk Prime, who wins? Usyk for me. Although Hay could punch like a mule, I just think Usyk's just better, if I'm honest with you. James Paul says, a lot of people are talking about the brutal knockout that White suffered against Povetkin, but forgetting the 2 knockdowns Povetkin suffered as well at his advanced age. How do you think these factors could affect his performance in the rematch? That's an interesting point. I don't think he got up, right? So they weren't big knockouts that he got up. That's the thing. White weren't getting up. That could have been 20 seconds. He ain't getting up. I just feel like Povetkin will know now that he can knock White out. I think we've always known with White in those fights, when you think of the fights with, even the Marius Vac fight, he got hurt a couple of times, you know, but if you think of the fights like Parker and Oscar Rivas and Chisora, even Helenius, he's always, you can hurt White. You can hurt White. But now Povetkin knows he can hurt White. But then again, White knows he can hurt Povetkin. Makes for a great fight, right? Base the Kid says, you're given the option to choose one fight that you're desperate to see before the fighters are either out of their prime or retired. But seeing this fight means you can never, ever moan again about the sport of boxing. Do you accept? No, I don't accept. But if so, what fight do you choose and what belts, if any, are on the line? I just want to see AJ Fury. I know I was about to say Crawford Spence, because I think Crawford Spence is a better fight. But AJ Fury is just it, isn't it? It's just it. I mean, imagine, recently we've been seeing videos of AJ versus Povetkin, because it's been 2 years since that happened, I think yesterday or today. And just seeing AJ walk to the ring, I think it was 85,000 at Wembley. I was there for that. And the noise. And in my head, I'm thinking, that is nothing compared to the noise it will be for AJ Fury. 2 giants, right? Different fan bases as well. I think it's fair to say that it seems as though there are now AJ fans and Fury fans, a bit like Brooke and Amir Khan. It will just be the biggest thing ever for this sport in this country. Obviously not worldwide. And it needs it. It needs it. Boxing doesn't even make the back pages anymore. No one cares. AJ Fury will make the back pages in this country, and that's what we need. All right, Mr. KWX Ben says, no, use the word Aisha, you can't use the word J even when in general conversations or you will be struck down. I don't know what he's talking about. Count Dante says, hi, Addy, hope you're well. My question is, prime Pernell Whitaker versus prime Floyd Mayweather, who wins? Floyd Mayweather never lost. Do you know what I mean? I know people might point out to the Jose Luis Castillo fight, first one, close, and even the Maidana first one. But the fact is, there's a way to beat Pernell Whitaker. We haven't seen a way to beat Floyd Mayweather, at least on the cards anyway. Jake Monroe says, who do you think will win? Prime Larry Holmes versus prime Joe Louis Holmes. Prime Riddick Bowe versus prime Joe Fraser Bowe. Also, where do you think Leeds United will end or will be at the end of the Premier League? Love the channel. Keep up the good work. I'm very interested to see what Leeds United can do, right? Obviously, we saw them get beat by Liverpool, but then they beat Fulham. My only concern for them is that they've conceded 7 goals in 2 games. It's quite a lot. Quite a lot. They weren't able to keep Ben White. Obviously, he went back to Brighton. It was a loan deal, really. So it'll be very interesting to see what they do. I do think they might scrape into the top 10 just because of Bielsa. There's something magical about that manager. I think he is that damn good. All right, last couple of questions. CRB says, if Fury Wilder 3 has crowds, are you coming? Yes. Simple, I'm coming. Also, when was the last time you played soccer and basketball? You know what? I used to fucking be good at basketball, but I've not played basketball. You know when you think you can still do it? You still think you got that flick of the wrist? Probably haven't. Football, soccer. Football, I haven't played football for about 15 years. No joke. I haven't played football for about 15 years. Madness. So it's been a long time. Guys, I'm tired. We are done. Peace.